Imagine sitting in a convertible. It's cool, it's fun, you've got the wind in your hair. Well, this was the exact image I had in my head when I was recently buying a new car. You can't deny how stylish a convertible looks, right? It would be great for driving in the sunshine, but given the cost of this new purchase, I knew I had to do my research and weigh up the pros and cons. Despite the lure of a convertible, would I be better off with a more practical car? One that would be more suitable for when it rains, for example? And let's face it, it rains a lot in Scotland. It was no easy choice. I had to think about the cost and benefit of each type of car before coming to a final decision. And that's exactly what you need to do and evaluate the usefulness question in history. So sit back and enjoy the journey as we explore this. This is Think 4. I want to focus on the origin of the source, as most students studying higher history struggle with these particular areas. This includes authorship, timing, and type of source, and they are each worth 1 mark out of the possible 8. For each area, you need to consider whether it makes the source more or less useful, and you must state this in your answer for each, as well as linking to the topic in the question. Let's start with authorship. Look carefully at the origin of this source on why Scots migrated. Source A is from an article about emigration written by the editor of Chambers Journal, a popular weekly Scottish magazine from 1872. Now think carefully. Is the author useful? Are they an eyewitness, for example? Or are they an expert on the topic? You should be using these types of keywords in explaining the impact this would have on the usefulness of the source. For example, the author of the source is an editor of a magazine. This would be useful as he would be an expert who would be well informed and would have researched the reasons for migration, such as the lure of better wages abroad for Scots, especially farmers. Note that I have used the phrase useful, the keyword expert, and linked it to the question and the source. For timing, you need to decide whether the source is a contemporary source, which was written at the time of the event, or a secondary source, written after. Each of these can be useful. For example, you could write, "The source was written in 1872. This is useful as it's a contemporary source written when many Scots were emigrating to places like Canada in search of better wages or the ability to own their own land. Secondary sources are written with the benefit of hindsight. This means the author can look at the bigger picture, given a much more balanced view. For timing, it's crucial you read the source origin and question carefully, as this will allow you to work out if it's a contemporary or secondary source. For type, you again need to look at the origin of the source. The example I just used is an article. However, there are many different types of sources, such as a letter or a diary entry, and each can be useful, or potentially less useful, in their own right. You need to think carefully about the type of source in relation to the question. Why might a diary be useful or less useful, for example? A diary should be an honest account, given it was never meant to be published, so should contain true thoughts. However, it's only from one viewpoint, so it may be biased. Each of these answers would be worthy of a mark in an SQA exam. As you can see, the origin of the source and evaluate the usefulness questions can be tricky. However, if you think carefully, follow this guide, and always remember to state whether the source is useful or not, then you will have the knowledge and skills required to gain all 3 marks. And will soon be driving in the sun with the top down and on the road to success. This was Think 4. Thanks for watching.